Carl Jung wrote a lot, I guess, about UFOs in the latter part of his life, because the UFO phenomenon didn't really become a part of the bigger, wider American public mythology until, say, after World War II, and Roswell being the first big incident that most people know of, right? So
That was 1950s?
Roswell was 48, I feel like, maybe
Okay.
49. It was somewhere. Alien enthusiast, feel free to email me and tell me I'm wrong. Again, I'm trying to do all this, without notes or whatever. So around about that time. Point is that it's post-atomic world. I think that's one of the main ideas. That now we have the atom bomb, we can destroy ourselves. And then right around that time, that's where you start to get a profusion of these stories, particularly in America. Though, of course, there have always been stories of aliens and things from the sky, and throughout time there really have.
I love those stories. Just a note.
Yeah,
a note on paranormal experiences. I think that the fact that these things are so common, and not so common, rather, that's not right, but that they exist across time and unfailingly, I don't know, things like that make me think that there's something. It's like that Jung mode of thinking, which is, okay, maybe every single thing that these people say when they say that they've had an alien encounter or something like that, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's, and it probably is, it's probably not aliens or whatever. But what I think we go astray with is like completely discounting the phenomenon of so many instances of people feeling like they've encountered something paranormal. I think that it's that warrants attention, not per se the fact that someone thinks they saw a UFO shaped in this way at this time on this date. It's, why do we have that propensity to have those experiences across time? What does that call to? Like, what is it about human beings? And you can be cynical about it, and you can say these people are mentally ill, which is the more modern response to everything that is out of the canon of what we've accepted, or that they're looking for attention or what, or money or something like that. And you can see how all those answers are kind of really cynical, and dismissive, which adds a layer of skepticism for me, because I don't tend to think that cynicism and dismissal are the best modes of understanding the world. So I think that you can be open to weird phenomena that's not well explained and should be treated with great skepticism without descending into cynicism and quick dismissal. I think, on the contrary, that those reactions are sometimes warranting skepticism of their own for how knee-jerk they are, which is the same way that I respond to astrology previously, which is that knee-jerk, like, that's bunk. It's almost as if I would do that because it was important to me that stay bunk, because of course this is the thing that we keep returning to, which is, if there is threads, shards, specks of truth in these ideas that we're not engaging with, we don't know shit. And that's really frightening, to think that there are these entire other worlds that the tools of reason and understanding that we have accepted and that have done so much for our world, have done so much to create our lives, our worlds the way that we know them, could not reach to some places. It's a weird thing to think, it's a weird thing. Like, how does it make you feel to think that, shit, maybe there is some paranormal stuff. Maybe there is some merit to the idea of astrology in a different way than the pop astrology. And it makes you realize, well, there's kind of a sense of insecurity there. There's kind of a sense of instability that comes with realizing there are these realms of ideas and understanding about the world that we don't really understand. So I think that's why it's good to be open about things, and you can tell the difference between someone that's like being curious, being open, and then someone that's like aliens, and it's like there's a different mode of being there.
Yeah, well, what you're describing is what Carl Jung would say himself, is that, look, if nothing else, these are interesting in terms of the psychology of the human beings experiencing it. And they probably tell us something about the world in which we're living in and that particular individual. Now, he'll obviously go farther than that, but if nothing else, there's some value to that. To wrap this together with the beginning, he wrote extensively on UFOs to be, as far as I know, and I haven't read much. And again, this is 100. I want to put this up for the viewers to see this little book. This is only 100 pages, this book. It's just excerpts from his writing. And UFOs is a small section, but it seems to me that he didn't come down for sure on saying for sure if he thought they were physical or phenomenon or just simply projections of the psyche. But, and I think we might have mentioned this before, remember, in his mind, we're moving out of the age of Christianity and Pisces, right? Jesus was the mediator in Western notions of Christianity, of the mediator between heaven and earth, because heaven is God the Father up there in the sky. He doesn't come down to earth. He didn't fuck with that. Jesus is the one that's in between, right? Us. Well, now that we're getting out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, you'll need a new symbol of mediation between the heavens and the earth. What would that be? A UFO. Aliens.
Oh, shit. That's really interesting. Huh. That's a good point. Good job, Jung. That's a good point because that makes sense in a way for explaining the kind of like cultural fascination with the idea of aliens, right? Like the idea that there's life in the beyond, and there is something like quasi-religious to the way that certain alien enthusiasts approach those ideas. So that makes sense. That's really interesting. That's why I love Jung. That's why I love. It's like there's something so beautiful about someone that genuinely tries to understand things. I mean, that's to me. He is just, I don't know, I cannot stop repeating it, but he is just like this epitome of what it looks like to be a thinker, a real thinker, which is you don't immediately knock shit off the table because there isn't a hardcore defined and peer approved explanation for it. You have to be willing to go into the unknown and to try to understand. I mean, it sounds like such a simple thing to say, to try to understand, but man, we don't because it's scary.